more people dropping. There's Matt. Hey, Matt.
Really?
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Matt.
The face thing, yeah, it's a little bit funny. I think mine's gone a bit bright because I took it in a bit of sunlight.
All
right, I'm on, Chris.
Oh, there you go.
You'll die.
You're not quite on the chair there, Daniel.
Crash.
Paul,
No, it's
Paul,
fine.
can you?
You're on the
There you
I
peaker.
haven't heard you speak.
Give that a
No.
shot.
Oh, different one. HP.
Nope, not on.
Paul, we need to get you.
All right, hang on.
Try and fix the mic.
That's it. That's it.
There you go.
All right.
Whoa, how's that right there?
What's
Perfect.
going on?
Spot on.
Awesome.
Let's do this. Excellent. All right. Ready to roll.
Yeah, don't pay attention to the floating man. He's just our camera for the evening.
All right, guys. Here we go. Where's we got the River team and Kirk. I haven't actually met Kirk yet. Let me introduce myself to Kirk. Where is he?
Kirk's probably
Chris, do
having
you
a-
want me to do
I
a
don't
recording
see
as
Kirk.
well?
Hey, if you'd
Okay.
like to, David, shirt certainly wouldn't hurt.
me
I
see,
think you just have to give me permission.
Yep. There's Rich.
Could I have permission to do some recording?
Absolutely, Ty.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, Reed.
How
you doing, man?
Who we got?
There you go, buddy. And David James.
All right, Mike. Nice to see you, man.
Yeah, hi, how you doing?
All right. Yeah, I recognize
And
AE.
Alex. We need to give him some.
And Francois, I think
host.
we've met before. Nice to see you, Brian.
Alex, I just gave you co-host
We're all gonna come
privileges,
give
so
you
you've
a
got
hug.
everything now. Is there
Major
anyone
space
else that
here.
needs the full privileges?
Lita, you're a regular. Nice to see you, Mada. Hey, David. All right, David. Give me 5.
Okay.
Right.
And I've got
Yeah,
all
nice
your
one.
videos as backup on my
Thanks
end
for
too,
staying up,
just
David.
in case.
Amazing.
All
I
right.
don't know if it-
Oh, there's Kirk and
work or
Alex.
not.
Okay.
We'll pull
We'll
out if that
we'll
happens.
give it a try.
Here's Kirk.
All right.
All right, Daniel. Do you want to
Nice
make
to meet
any
you, Kirk.
announcements or anything?
Really good to meet you.
Daniel, good and nice.
Yeah, excellent. Nice to work with you. All right. So, all right. I'm gonna go on. Take my. Actually, I'm gonna take my mic off. Right. So, thank you very much, everybody, for coming, and I'm so excited about tonight. Hope to have a bit of something special in store for you. I'd like to invite you just to come to this end of the hall here, Chris. When you guys ready? We've been showing this board over here. It's quite fun. Oh, we got Ireland, Utah, Southern UK. I'm from Wales. We got Greece in the house, Peru, London. Wonderful. Such an international audience. And for us to be able to meet like this in the middle of social distancing is always exciting. So really excited about today. We've got like a trio of collaboration, even four angles working together. So on the one hand, we've got the whole River team here. We've got Alex and I think Ty and maybe one or two others from the River team. Rich and Costas, lovely. The River team, for those of you who don't know, they make world-leading photorealistic photogrammetry models. And some of those we're going to see today, and they use it to amazing effect in VR for training in different industries, in particular in the fire training and crime scene investigation industry, which is Kirk's specialty here in the white shirt. So Kirk is from the Consumas Fire Department in California. He's a retired fire captain, and we're very, very honored to have him join us today alongside the River team, because they had a collaboration going on. So Educators in VR, we reached out to those two and we wanted to bring it to Engage. So that's the 4 parties collaborating here together to bring this event to you. And I'm really excited because we got a little bit something special. I think ready when you are. I think we're about ready to kick this off. And actually, wait a minute. Hey, Alex. Do you smell something, man?
You did tell me. I thought there was a bit of smoke somewhere. I don't know where.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gone there. I'm not sure.
I'm just gonna go and check it out a little bit there. I think maybe. Better.
Over here.
Yeah.
I think it's over here.
Oh,
I think is it over here? I think maybe. Oh yeah. Okay. What's this?
Oh dear. Here we go.
All right, stand back, guys. What is this? Oh man, we got a fire captain in the house. stand back, man. Careful. I think the roof's gonna go. Oh my God, Chris, are you okay? Oh man! Quickly, get a fire hose, somebody. Oh, Chris. Oh. Somebody help him. Unbelievable.
Amazing.
Okay.
How's everybody doing? How's your heartbeat?
My heart's racing.
Yeah, man.
man.
Fantastic. Hats off to Chris from Engage for putting that little, big sequence together. Are you okay, Chris? You didn't get take any damage there?
The suit's still almost a little melted.
Yeah, a little dust. You need some oxygen there. Big round of applause for Chris. And yeah, I think I know Alex has an idea of some of the things he wants to run through. Alex, I'll hand over to you. Let you take over, and I'm here when you need me, my friend.
Cool. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Chris. That was amazing. Kirk, can you want to join me over here, Kirk? Can you come forward?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. I'm so pleased to have Kirk. I'm so pleased to have you here, Kirk. I'm glad you could make it, and we finally got all your setup working. It's amazing. So let's have a little discussion then. I've got a couple of things. I think everyone's going to know about Kirk's page. So let's just make sure things can bring up onto
Looks like I've lost
the
you.
screen.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
All right.
Have I got? Can you do my privileges for me?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I should, of course. Just a moment. Where are you, Alex? Oh, you are a host. You are a host already, Alex. Yep.
Okay. So I can just click the link and it should appear on the screen, or have we got to change the screen?
Oh, sorry. Let me pull up a screen for us. That's not a screen. Hang on. Let me grab that.
Is that a JPEG? Chris.
Yes, it is. Here we go. You got screens now, my friend.
Amazing.
There you go.
Ooh,
Perfect.
nice big one. Cool. So Kirk, really pleased to have you here with us.
Yeah.
And I can't
Thank you,
believe
Alex.
we're actually doing this conversation in VR. I'm really gutted that we couldn't make it this year to be at FDIC together, but I'm hoping that next year we can definitely get there. So Kirk, we're going to go. Sorry, carry on.
No, is FDIC, is that a large international fire conference?
Yeah, Kirk, maybe you can tell us a little bit about FDIC.
Yeah, I don't think Bobby, Chief Halton, are you on board with us today? Any chance? I don't think so.
Halton.
But Chief Bobby Halton is a editor-in-chief of Fire Engineering magazine, and annually gets together, as he says, 35,000 of his closest friends into Indianapolis in April. Unfortunately, this year we've missed the opportunity. But and we're talking about, so how do we upgrade the way we do things? But Commander Speight and Alex and some of the River team and I have met the last couple Aprils and talked about how do we need to upgrade emergency response training in the modern era.
Yeah, right. And you've been working with VR in a number of ways, right?
I started a little over a decade ago in 3D laser scanning for fire and explosion investigation. But my interest now is, rather than post-event, mostly, how do we prevent a fire in the first place?
Okay. All right, Alex.
Yeah, Kirk, I was going to set you up with a really amazing video that I always like to see, and I'm sure that everyone else would like this. Only a 1 minute video.
Yeah.
This is going to set Kirk up nicely.
Much of the first Iron Man technology. It's advancing faster and taking less time to be widely adopted than ever before.
Human enhancement and augmentation have been around through human history and mythology.
Yeah.
From Prometheus stealing fire to the matters of life and death.
All right.
To replace not just what was lost, but enhance what we already have.
Every 2 hours and 45 minutes, a U.S. citizen dies by fire in their own home. We've lost more than 3,000 a year consistently for 30 years. With machine learning and AI, to progress to a place just a couple years ago we couldn't have imagined.
Can machine learning take us even further? See-Through's created a mask with special glasses clipped inside, which allows firefighters to see edges as green lines in an augmented reality overlay. The mask detects subtle changes in brightness to predict shapes invisible to the human eye.
What we're working on is really a game-changing tool that has the potential to transform how work here is done.
We're at the dawn of a new age, the age of AI.
Amazing, Kirk. That
Oh,
sets me up
yeah.
nicely.
Awesome.
So, Kirk, I wondered, could you just give us a little rundown? I've been with you, obviously, at FDIC, and we've met Sam and the guys at Quake. But can you just give us a brief roundup of what that tech is and how you tested it for that video?
Yeah, absolutely. So Sam Kosman's a bit of a crazy volcano explorer that a few years ago went down very close to the lava lake and thought, well, I'll reach out to the fire service and get their infrared-enabled computer vision because the ash will be so thick and the smoke will be so thick you wouldn't be able to see what he was doing. So he's set with a few teammates to build it, and a couple times reached out to me and Kasuna's fire department for a little backup help, and had the chance to be part of this. I'm actually the first firefighter to see the computer vision, and to me it's one of the steps forward to the long-term view of being an Iron Man first responder, and maybe more importantly, enabling next-gen 3D technology on everyone's phone. So if you had to escape this warehouse in real life in the event of an earthquake, fire, flood, or other natural or man-made disaster, that you could know your exit pathways. A bit like Pokemon Go, but for saving lives. I like to call it 911 Go, that everyone should be enabled in this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And what did it feel like? Was it nice? Did it enhance you? What was it like?
Well, I mean, how many fires have you fought? I guess. So I've been on
not as many as you.
Yeah, I've been on 10,000 calls, which makes a few hundred fires, crawling on my hands and knees with zero visibility, and a rope with a knot every 20 feet.
Oh my God.
We do carry thermal imaging cameras in one hand, but only one person has that, typically on a crew, just an officer. And it's time to move beyond that. And so to be able to see in the dark right in the line of sight is exceptional.
Can I ask a question? You're talking about thermal imaging. Isn't there a problem there with the heat of the fire?
In relationship to the unit, the device, you mean? Yeah. So they have to be ruggedized and rated to meet a certain temperature, and then there's a point at which it's not appropriate for us to be there either. So we're only heat resistant in our gear.
Yeah. Okay.
So effectively, we're looking for the ratings 300 degrees F for 5 minutes and 500 for 3 minutes has been one of the heat tests
criteria. Okay.
Yeah, really good. So, Kirk, obviously that's one piece
Anything's
of tech.
better than the backup plan of the rope with knots. And do our audience have the option of asking questions? And thank you all for being here. This is my first chance at a shot like this, so I'm new to
Thank you for coming.
The logistics. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
So
we can take
It's
questions. We can either do the questions as we go, and people can raise their hands. What we like to do sometimes is get like partway through what we're doing, and then have an opportunity for everybody to ask their questions. then.
Sure,
But
Daniel. Yeah, not everyone has enough time for the whole show, maybe. So
yeah, maybe if you prefer to do it as we go, then people please, raise your hands, get the attention, and then we will switch your microphones free, and you can ask Kirk or Alex or us a question.
And if you're
All
on
right.
a PC, if you're on a PC
Yeah.
desktop, you can stand under this arrow to ask the question, and we'll call on you there too.
Oh yeah, so you just kind of come under the arrow, which indicates I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks, Dan. That's
Yeah,
great.
thanks, man.
Okay, Kirk. So that was like basically tech piece 1. Do you want to see if anyone's got any questions about that, or do you want to go on to the next bit, which is another video?
Oh, yeah, I'm good to go on to the next. That's fine. I don't see anybody stepping forward to the big red arrow. Hard to miss.
Oh, someone flew through. So yeah, obviously that was the first piece that when we met those guys, and they told me about that technology, and then we started talking about 360 videos with you. So we did quite a lot of videos, but there was a unique way that you guys were playing things back. So I was going to show the piece. Do you want to talk about the CNN piece with the River Link? Oh, there's a microphone
which
for you now
piece?
as well. So
That's for questions.
Yeah, the Pico CNN video.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Alex and River, in conjunction with Cosumnes Fire, helped us also with WS Darley Corporation put together a set of videos to teach our recruits who have had very little, if any, live fire training. And so we have the opportunity to put them into a live fire inside a metal shipping container. Then they had the opportunity to see effectively a dollhouse burning and have a lecture on fire behavior. And then they got to go inside these headsets, and they were asked, 18 recruits were asked, or cadets, what was most effective. And interestingly, about 4 out of 5 of them said the interlinked, the 24 interlinked headsets that we from Alex and Darley.
Yes.
That was the most effective fire behavior training of anything else they'd seen.
And can I just ask?
Yeah.
I'll stand here. I ask why that was the most effective fire safety training they had. Was it because it was coordinated and shared?
Well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of points to this, and we're going to need to look at the learning objectives and then talk to the students. And this will be a long-standing thing. And I'm sure there's some PhDs that could be helping us that have written papers in general on how VR can be much more effective. And I haven't spoken enough to the recruits on that.
Okay.
I think some of them actually speak in the video as well, so they give us some of their feedback. So we can watch that in a minute.
Yeah. Follow-up question then. Do the 24 headsets, are they typically in the same location, or are they spread out remotely?
So Alex is going to speak to the technical side of things, but in this case, the recruits were all in the same room, but they were synchronized in the same video content that could be paused, it could be backed up. And what the opportunity of the 360 video was captured as part of an event Alex will show you later, where we were doing some test burns for the Department of Homeland Security and NASA to train their artificial intelligence program, Audrey. And they needed thermal data. And Dr. James Mullins at Deakin University, who also has a VR program called Flame Trainer, he came and used a glass lens to protect the 360 camera. And we were at 1800 degrees at the floor, which is not something firefighters are in the position to see firsthand for a variety of reasons. And so we've got to reuse and repurpose that video. So, Alex, you want to show that CNN piece?
Yeah, perfect. So I'll play that, and it gives some of the recruits talking. Hopefully, this is okay for everyone.
Lasts 6 months. Gentleman in the back of the container. He's going to be. And recruits will always have hands-on, fire-in-your-face training.
You feel like you got a seal?
I've done it myself before with Metro Fire, and it didn't go so well.
It was hot. I was confused. My left ear started burning.
So this time, I let my photographer Jacob take his GoPro inside what's called the cam. Because because this is what I wanted to try.
So the cool thing about VR is you guys don't...
While other departments have used 360-degree cameras, Casumas Fire says it is one of the first fire departments in the world using virtual reality to train firefighters.
We are the first ones to put entire classroom, entire academy into virtual reality.
With this 360-capable GoPro, the department can create its own VR videos, putting firefighters in a fire without the danger. Without fear, recruits can focus on learning.
We can show them different things, and they're actually absorbing that knowledge at a much better rate.
The headsets come from a company called Pico, and the VR software was provided by RiVR, meaning Casumas Fire just pays for what they burn. VR fire application is very much in its infancy, but the educational, technology advancements, and health implications are massive.
We can put somebody on a headset and not 100 times in a can. That's better health, that's better fitness, that's better overall, hopefully, training.
There is no substitute for feeling the heat of the flames, but for those wanting to make this their profession, or for those who already do it and just want to be better at it, understanding what you are literally getting into before you face the fire is some of the best fire protection a firefighter can have.
Amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks for that, Kirk. I loved going over to America when we did those videos for you. It was amazing.
Can I ask you straight away a question?
Yes. Go.
Yes, and then Alex, I was going to ask, do you have that article that you can show from Fire Engineering that just published on that whole project?
I
Yeah,
definitely
Daniel, go
can.
ahead.
I always have a lot of questions. Please, I don't want to hog, but if you have questions, come up and ask them. But I'm going to ask one now. So I noticed the guy was saying, and the fire captain there was saying, obviously with VR you can simulate the environment very well. We can't simulate the heat. Is there a way to kind of separate heat training? So I imagine somebody being in their fire suit and just putting them in a safe oven environment where you can give them experience just in the heat in a safe, controlled way without flames. I don't know.
That might lead on nicely to the next one, Kirk, which is
there you go.
who has got that jacket.
Well, all we have to do is put on our gear in summer in Sacramento. It's
in the street,
115% in our community. There's always going to be plenty to go with it. It's never just the heat. It's never how fast the fire's advancing. It's that there's a rescue that needs to happen. It's that there's an exposure that we're trying to prevent the fire to get to. So there's a bunch of components to consider. And I will say, and Commander Speight, I'll give him the mic in a second. The other point is the flame system. James Mullins out of Australia does have a haptic feedback where you put on a vest and you do get hot inside his VR system. And let's merge all these systems together. It needs to be agnostic and ubiquitous across platforms, so we can do training for children in VR who now aren't even allowed to go to the firehouse, and how much more efficient even when we were. So Alex was just showing a video, or a still from a new article in Fire Engineering magazine that just came out this month, a whole piece on that project we did with our recruits. Can you give Commander Speight the microphone, because he's my
he should be on
here.
He's unmuted. So Paul, if you want to, we'll take you off there as well. Paul, you should be able to speak, but we're not receiving your audio at the moment.
Yeah, I think Paul, you have a problem with your mic
earlier and didn't hear from him.
That's a shame.
Yeah, and for everyone in the audience, so Commander Paul Speight is a UK fire commander that's done some exceptional work in the UK and I consider a close friend. This is the moment that you pretend to be an emergency responder and you've called a mayday, and the commander didn't get your message. And that's why we need to upgrade the way we need to do the way we do business, both in training of firefighters, law enforcement, medical personnel, how we train our public, and then upgrading from 2 tin cans and a string like we're a couple of kindergartners into on next generation smart systems.
Right. Is there anything we can do for Paul?
I think, Paul, if the microphone is not working, we might have to just fix it. We've done great to get Paul up and running. He's got the setup at home.
What it might be, Alex, is the Vive Pro actually has that mute button on the side of the headset.
I think Paul's on a standard Vive. If anyone's got any intel on normal Vive for microphone.
The other option I would give is maybe just check your PC mic setting and make sure your PC mic is not muted.
Yeah,
I've done that before. Yeah.
There's one thing I was going to show from Kirk. We've got a video from Paul that he gave me that we can show what he's doing with virtual reality, and then we can jump back to Flame if that's okay.
Whatever you like, Alex.
So Paul, we'll play this from Leicester. This is Leicester Fire Service.
Yeah.
Paul's definitely looking like he's looking for his microphone.
Just on the outskirts of Leicester.
He's doing some break
I was
dancing.
lucky enough to be invited to take part in a trial that we're running with virtual reality and virtual classrooms. Whilst the COVID outbreak's going on, it has impacted our ability to come together, train, talk about things, and debrief incidents that we've been attending. So through quite a lot of innovation and quite a lot of hard work through individuals and in partnership with RiVR, I've just trialled a really excellent scenario where I was put into a immersive reality environment of a fire investigation scene. I had 10 colleagues from across the service join me virtually, where they were able to see what I was seeing and direct me to investigate the fire scene. It's an incredibly powerful learning tool for the fire investigators, quite an enjoyable process at the same time, so it's becoming a really, really good tool for us, not only for now but for the future, to really change our training environment and help people learn from each other in new and innovative ways. So not all of our training stopped, but some of it's really had to be curtailed. With fire investigation training, it's really tricky anyway because we have to investigate real scenes, which mean we have to have real fires. That's time consuming and costly. So whilst our fire investigators continue to investigate scenes as they come out, this training aid is really, really powerful, which means we can share experiences, work together and supplement what we've got going on in the traditional training sense with new and innovative ways. Really, really powerful fire investigations. I'm really excited about where we can take this over the coming weeks and months. Unfortunately, we've already had a couple of events that had to be postponed due to COVID, where we can take it out of the fire investigation world, lead it into firefighter training, incident command training. Really and truthfully, the world is opening up to us with the powerful addition of technology to supplement existing training, not to replace it.
Great.
So I'll pause it. Let's check Paul, see if he's fixed, but if not, I can just do a quick bit on that. So that was Leicester Fire Service, and they're doing remote training using the fire investigation software that RiVR have created. So there's 6 different scenarios, and Paul's been putting recruits through it. And today, I think, Paul, you actually you were doing the Skype call again, where you have people dial in, and there was about 20 people watching the training. So that was great. And the avatar on the screen at the moment is actually the new avatar where I can meet Paul in the investigate scene, and we can both do the investigation together. So that's like
remotely.
Remotely. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Yeah,
and
kind of like we had
up.
the model in here earlier. Yeah,
100%. And maybe Daniel, I know Kurt, we're going to move on to the flame bit in a minute, because I like to speak about all the things you've been involved in. But maybe Daniel, we should just show one of the burn models in the middle while we've just seen that video.
I think we should. Yeah, as an example of the work you're doing. So maybe we stand back a little bit there.
Yeah.
And you can walk straight up to it. Maybe we bring one in the other side of the room, and people can have a look at. One over here as well.
And obviously, let's touch a little bit. I always get told off for using the word photogrammetry so much, but these are photogrammetry models that have been downscaled slightly just to get them in. We wanted to make sure that we could fit them in, and actually, Engage has been amazing at how many models they've managed to get in that are really high resolution. So we are now going to try some more, and we can probably up it a little bit more and see if we can get an even better resolution.
I wanted to ask the audience a little question. So when I first saw this model, I was alone, and I just looked at the model, and I have no training in fire incidents or anything like that. But I tried to guess where this fire had started from, and I got it wrong. But I just thought if we could give everybody a couple of minutes to have a look around the burn scene and try and kind of make a suggestion. Yeah, what do you
Definitely,
think?
yeah. People, everyone have a little look around, and obviously
put
in
another
the
one over here.
in the real scenarios, you would be allowed to pick everything up and look underneath things, and use the torch and the scene lighting to investigate the scenarios more.
Yeah, exactly. Put another one over there. Put a few around the place. Exactly. Oh, and then
really good.
when we've done that, maybe we can scale it up as well for effect.
Definitely, yeah. So I was amazed when you guys showed me what you could do with these things, and we were just when you look at them actually miniature, it actually adds a whole nother dimension to it, and also large, like behind you.
Yeah, large, and then bring in some small ones. Sorry, scale it down there. We can just have it sitting right there. Yeah.
I might add to keep in a firefighter might go some time without going to a significant fire, which this would be considered at least significant to the point of a room and contents fire. There's so much to learn before their first time to fight the fire, and then what can they learn about? Could it have been accidental, or maybe not so much? There's a lot to know. And my work first was working with a firm on 3D laser scanning, and I once scanned a set of cadavers and 3D printed them as a proof of concept that you could take perishable evidence like this. Now we're doing this digitally, but could it be 3D printed and brought to the courtroom? Something, and we'll have to talk about the ethics of a human body, in this case, of a cadaver.
Yeah. All right, we'll give you guys another 1 minute, and then if you want to make suggestions of where you think the fire started and maybe what caused it even. Are we able to say whether this is an accidental fire or a what's the word for arson?
Intentional.
Yeah,
intentional.
Arson. Yeah, I guess. Well, we wouldn't normally give that away, otherwise it would sort of lead you to the cause. But yeah.
Possibly. We'll give everybody just another 30 seconds to make up their minds, and then maybe. Okay.
Yeah, during the actual training, when you're in the scenario, after you've come to your conclusion, you then get to watch a 360 video of how the fire actually started. So that's your learning outcome at the end.
Okay, cool.
We burnt through a few cameras, sticking them through the wall of the container.
Okay, so I'm gonna take maybe this model here. So who wants to? We had a suggestion from somebody, saying, "Where's the small fireball or the campfire?" So somebody suggested that the fire started maybe on the bed somewhere. Somebody suggested there.
Yeah.
Someone else.
This is good.
Suggested one of the lamps maybe. Anyone else want to make a suggestion?
Let's talk about the lamps quickly. In the proper investigation, we can actually trace the wires back to see whether the plugs were on or off.
Oh wow!
You can actually get
makes
down on your knees and crawl around.
Rami has a question, maybe.
Plug was on, definitely. So.
One plug was on. Some people are muted. So yeah, if you have a suggestion, either come and show us, or David, are you standing there because that's where you think it started?
Rami's got a question. He's thinking
Rami,
maybe down here.
Rami, I got him. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're live.
I can't hear you, Rami, but I can see where you're pointing, which is great. Oh no, I can hear you.
Now we have you.
I got you.
Yeah, no, I think it was started here.
You think it started
good.
there? Okay.
We'll
put that one
marker
there.
there.
Anyone else? Any ideas? I'll tell you where I thought it was, and you'll find out that was wrong. It was right where David is standing here. I thought it was there because of that lump, and I'll explain why as well in a minute. Candle on the night table could be that.
I was surprised
right.
with this one when we actually burnt these in real life, because obviously we get to see where the fire started, and I did expect the room to get a bit more enveloped with fire, but it didn't on this one.
Right.
I thought we were going to see more damage.
Okay, should we reveal? Has anyone else want a last suggestions? Brian is hard muted, mate. Let me try and if Brian does want to say something, let me just bring where's Brian? There you go, Brian. If you yeah.
Yeah, I can hear
Brian.
I wasn't. I've been round these before, so I wasn't going to speculate because
Uh-huh.
I've got a few ideas. So I'll leave it to the lot.
All right, okay. All right. So maybe Alex, do you wanna reveal where it actually started?
Yeah, so on this scenario, there's obviously quite a few things that lead up to the actual cause of the fire. And in the real scenario, you'd be able to see on the bed, you can see where there was bottles lying. So in the full scene, Rich has got some amazing, and Costas, some bottles that go here on the bed, and you can pick things up and move those out of the way. Down here, you can see on both of the plug sockets that neither of the plugs were on. So you can, at some point, discount those bits. And the fire came obviously this way, but the actual fire started from it was a careless disposal on the bed. So in the scene, you get to see cigarettes and a Zippo lighter around about here that we haven't actually brought into this scene, but this is the first time we've had them in here. And I think, yeah, it was bang on in the middle of the bed and then spread out from there. Careless disposal. If Paul Speight was here, he could give us a much more technical description of how the fire spread. And even
like I said,
Jason,
I thought it started down here because there was a lump, and the reason why, you see how this burn line on the cupboard, and then there's another burn line over there. I kind of thought that it had come from there, but then when I heard you explain where it came from, if it had started there, it probably would have burnt the whole cupboard away, rather than just
I think
scorching.
what happened here, Dan, is there was curtains here, and that's what the lump is on the floor. This fell down onto the floor here.
That makes sense.
But yeah, that is great. Basically, very basic fire investigation. I'm sure we could do a lot more with Paul in here as well.
But what I love about it is just that this discussion now, of 5 minutes, has already got us thinking completely differently about fire and incidents already, because we have a model, because we've had a joint discussion, and each one of us is remotely differently. So the power of bringing the models in and meeting remotely like this, even for non-specialists, for me, I've learned a lot. Thank you.
100, yeah, totally agree. Spatially looking at things is amazing.
Absolutely. Cool.
I say, yeah, so someone's holding one of the models over there. I was thinking, Chris, it is really good when you actually can pick them up and touch them.
This one's this one's shareable. If you guys want to just pass that around, reach in, pull your trigger, and you can grab that inside that little purple sphere.
Does it let
this
you
one
scale
here
as
I've
well,
just
or is it
shared as
locked?
well. Rob Terrio, you can grab that one if you want. There's another one shared. And you can scale it as well, exactly. You can grab it and make it miniature, and yeah. I put 4 of them in a box and suddenly it was a room. That was quite cool.
I wish building my office was that easy.
Oh yeah, and then we've got things like we can get a bit closer with the bed.
Oh yeah, you have the individual models, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and we would obviously we would have all the individual models. Normally, this was just a training set that we sent to Engage to load in.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's all about burn patterns. So if you see this one has got the bed not in it.
Oh, the one floating in the corner up there? Yeah, you've subtracted the furniture, or some of the furniture, right?
Yeah, so because we did photogrammetry of the whole scene, we scanned the room with everything in it, but we also scanned it empty as well. So you can press inside Engage, inside the scene, you can exit all the items, and then get to see the burn patterns and smoke patterns on the wall.
So presumably, then you could also reintroduce the furniture as separate assets, and people could then investigate by moving the bed or moving the cupboards and the bed tables, right?
Yeah, sorry, Dan, I just lost you then at the last bit.
All right.
Sorry.
I was just saying that presumably you could add separate models of the bed and the furniture, and then for investigation, people could come and look under the bed by moving it or move the bedside tables and so on.
Definitely, that's a massive point. You're really, really good. The the reason for these scenes is in the real world, the people come through these scenarios and they can't interact with things because the next lot of training recruits are coming through. So you're not allowed to touch things, but with these you can touch everything.
Exactly. So I suppose, let me see if I can bring the bed in quickly. I think the bed is available.
Oh, it's in the middle. I'll put it in the middle, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just grab a different one, I think. So that bed, for example, there, we could put it back in a bit bigger there. So that's about right. Plonk it there. And then somebody could come in with the training and they could move the bed, look under for patterns or something like that. And then nobody's contaminated the scene or anything like that or compromised the scene, right?
Yeah, then you've got a massive reset button at the end and you can just start the training again for the next person.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Okay.
Kirk, should we move on to another Kirk subject, if everyone's okay?
I think we might remove some of the assets just because it takes full attention, which is a sign of how immersive it is, right?
Definitely remove some of those,
The one thing I might mention while we're in this asset is ruling in and ruling out how the fire spread. One of the things that's used is obviously you're using a CFD model of the fire that's on the bed, but it doesn't continue to progress. It's just a loop. But mixed physics computational fluid dynamic modeling can be useful to test a hypothesis of where a fire started and how it spread. I mean, I like the visual effects on that. Let's match that with the science behind the fire spread as well.
Right.
Totally agree. The spread of the fire is that we do want to build into systems, and I think Flame are working towards that sort of thing as well. So that leads into just talking about those guys, if that's okay.
Got a question here from Robert, great. I think.
Question from Robert.
Looks like it.
Robert, you should be good now.
Can you hear me? Just
yes.
Okay, perfect. On that point, I'm working, or I know of a firm who are starting to investigate taking the NIST fire models into VR. So they're running them and then capturing all that data to put into their fire thing that they're developing. And
amazing.
Perform introductions for people if they want.
Ooh. Yeah, I'd love to hear about that. Yeah.
Robert,
VR, love it.
I would absolutely be interested, and I'd also have them reach out to the team at Thunderhead Engineering, who first put me in VR inside a NIST fire model about 2 years ago. And actually, Alex helped me do that 2 years ago at FDIC to show that it's possible to go inside there. And my question is, what do we do after the loss of a firefighter? There's fire models are done in line of duty death investigations. How do we protect the ethics of our lost ones, colleagues, their loved ones, and learn from the tragedy in the moment? But anybody working in VR for fire modeling, please pass them my way.
Lovely.
Yeah, great. Okay, awesome. But do we want to move some more of these out, Dan?
I think if we leave the one model there and we can speak in front of that model as a focal point, and the other models, Chris, I'm not sure all of them are shared.
I think the remaining ones are ones you brought out, actually.
Yeah, I don't think I did. Like, I can't remove it if I can't see bring up the bubble. Is that Alex? Is that a floating one?
Yes, sorry, that's me. I will grab that one.
No problem. All right. There you go.
Cool.
Okay, lovely.
Amazing. So, Kirk, can you just tell us a little bit about Flame Trainer? Because obviously we're going over things that people that we've met. We've gone through Sam and Quake, and then I'd like to talk about Flame and those guys. So I'm going to
just
a bit
one
of
little thing. That wall is invisible in one direction, but in the other direction people can't see it. Do you want to take just a step forward there?
I did not know I was in the wall.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm enlightened.
Cool.
Thank
Lovely.
you.
Thank you.
The flame trainer system, and there's also an extinguisher trainer system with it, is out of Deakin University. Alex and my friends, James Mullins and team, put together this. He's a robotics professor, and there's an opportunity to use a fire hose and feel the haptic feedback that comes with it. When we open a nozzle, there is feedback. And I had thought, say again.
I think I can hear Paul Speight, but I'm just gonna. Paul, that's great. I think I can hear you.
Apologies, I didn't realise I got it working.
Yes, you got it working.
Oh,
Fantastic.
we got Mr.
Wonderful.
Speight.
We have
Hi,
Paul in the
everybody.
house. It's amazing how much difference sound makes. Like in VR, good sound is so important. Welcome to the show, Paul.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So, Kirk, let's catch up with Paul in a minute. Just carry on talking about Flame.
Yeah.
So the robotics professor, James Mullins, wanted to build a system like he'd done for peacekeepers and flying airplanes and helicopters, the simulators for firefighters, because he's also a firefighter. And so he developed this system, and I thought, oh, one day we'll be able to put on a hot suit in VR. And I'm actually very privileged to have some of his assets with me right now, and I'm going to be doing some work with him, like evaluating the training application of it in a serious manner. Certainly, it is an opportunity for us as firefighters, and especially for those we serve, because normally we get, especially in the fall, 100 kindergartners through a firehouse in a matter of a day or two. Well, they may not be able to visit this fall, but they could go inside a cardboard viewer inside a 360 video and do fire extinguisher training. What about enterprise teams and academic teams, and keeping the exposure for insurance companies down? So VR, hands-on tactile haptic training solutions are, I think, a great opportunity, and hats off to their team for the work they've done.
Amazing, thanks, Kirk. We saw it then, but this is actually some footage from inside. So I just put it on the screen. This is the Flame stuff being used, putting out the car fire.
Excellent, but I do have a lag at my end. Sorry, Alex. I'm not capturing
It
all
loads
the video
differently
content.
for different devices.
Okay.
Yeah, it loads
Okay.
differently for different devices sometimes.
Kirk, did you see the previous video with the Flame trainer on the screen?
No, I did not, sir. But I see a gas station here, which the events, car fires in the gas station, those always kind of got my attention.
Indeed, yeah. That reminds me of that film, The Birds, by Alfred Hitchcock. There's a scene there where there's a fire at a gas station, it blows up. Oh wow, that's actually putting the fire out.
One of the challenges is the toxic exposure to firefighters. Even woods give off smoke that we shouldn't be breathing or shouldn't be exposed to for our skin. But certainly, training with anything like a car fire, the real thing is really nasty, and so we can't train with that. And so doing it virtually is a great opportunity.
Good benefit. Yeah.
Can I ask there? So we're watching this flame trainer actually somehow putting the fire out. Does that match your experience, like roughly the time and the amount of water being used to reach those results of putting the fire out? How realistic is it?
And I'd say, so I'm not getting the video at the correct speed on my end, and I would say, so I've been to 10,000 calls, a few hundred fires. Mostly we do medical emergencies.
Right.
But if Alex has set these test burns, and he could set them up exactly the same with the same material, same humidity, and light the same two fires on the same day and get two different results. And so, I've been to a few dozen car fires, and each one was very different. The ones that I thought I'd have out in a few moments were very stubborn indeed, and vice versa.
Interesting.
And Robert has a question, and be someone else there.
Yeah, Robert.
Hang on.
Am I unmuted yet?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I was wondering what, we're talking a lot about the fire aspects of fire, but, looking at lots of fire services that I see, there's lots of motor vehicle accidents and, car, extracting patients. And obviously we've just watched the vehicle there. What sort of percentage of calls end up being like motor vehicle, and who is doing research and development VR for those type of incidents, like cutting cars in half. I know is maybe a bit of a hobby for some firefighters.
We do appreciate a little extrication training, especially when the lead trainer says, "Oh, your hydraulic tool, jaws of life, as you might know them, the hydraulic system or now there are some of them are battery powered. You've just lost your your heavy equipment. Now it's back to pry bars and hammers. What are you and what are you going to do in a hacksaw?" The piece that I like relative to your question is Bosch, and I'm trying to remember if it was Mercedes-Benz or who did it, but they built an application so you could scan a QR code on a door, hold the tablet up to the car, and have an augmented reality display of where the fuel lines ran, or maybe more importantly, the high-powered electrical lines ran, or what about a hydrogen-powered vehicle? These are all things that when we go to cut a car in half to get somebody out, that can now it's much more technical than it used to be. It used to be simply fuel leaking. Maybe I see Brian's got a question as well, but 85% of what I was doing in my fire department, 85 to 95, was medical, and even in a vehicle accident, in some ways medical related generally. Otherwise, it's just a tow truck, and the law enforcement officers were not even involved, but our paramedic partners would be there for a variety of injuries. So we need more teams. We need teams of teams working on this.
Yeah, I can hear you, Brian.
Brian?
So it was Bosch. Bosch were doing bits like that, and I think this is what we all need to start thinking about. Is I know this is a fire simulation, and we're talking about cutting cars apart, but in the automotive industry, we're using VR in different ways. Like we're building designs of cars within VR. So this starts to get similarities across all quarters. So we need to start combining across these different elements so that we're doing simulations for one that can then branch out for others. So augmented reality for an internal look of a car, it should be augmented reality for fire training as well. They should start to come together.
I'd love the introduction. Yes, you're doing CFDs for the aerodynamics of the vehicle. You have the 3D assets. We need it because we show up and it's 2:00 in the morning and we have no idea where the danger points are on the car. Seatbelt pretensioners, airbags. Several firefighters have been killed by airbags. Several have had broken legs because of the hydraulic struts when pressurized by heat shoot out of the car and poke them in their femur and break their legs. So that, yeah, I'd love to work with you, Brian.
Brian, just give us a quick background of what you've been up to and where you've been working.
So I work in automotive, but I've also been on the XR scene for an awful long time, since about 2006 or something. Where I brought VR into the automotive trade so that they could use it for design and engineering of the vehicles. We also use it for vehicle tests within service, manufacturing, sales and marketing, after sales, all doing simulations of interiors, exteriors, and then bringing some of the CDF data into the simulations as well. However, it is still far away from being perfect. And this is what I'm trying to say, that there's learnings from different areas, and that's Alexa talking to me.
Love it.
So we just need to start to bring some of these things together. And Alex and I have been talking about this quite regularly, about how we build up the building blocks of a simulation. So it's not targeted to anything. It's targeted at bringing it more realistic. So if you build the blocks of realism, you can then add anything into it to make it more relative to the people that are doing it. Right. So that's where I sort of come from.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it's going that way.
All right. How are we doing for time?
See, Paul's got his hand.
Oh yeah, let me get Paul.
I've unmuted him. Oh wait, Paul. Oh, no. Paul.
Commander, that is.
I got him. Should be good, Paul. Should be good.
Oh, brilliant! I just love this part of the conversation because Kirk, myself, being one emergency first responders, fire service, the training for road traffic collisions and how we kind of take cars to pieces. If we can do it in the virtual world, know, it won't replace our training because we still have to do it for real, but it's going to supplement it in such a great way we can get our procedures 100% right before we then go and cut a car up. Because we have to pay for even scrap cars, we have to pay for £300 a time. So there's always costs involved. I think your training.
Am I still on? Are you still
I'm
here?
still here.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think
yeah.
Kurt might have dropped.
Okay, from my point of view, with the way that we do cars anyway, is that we've got after sales and we've also got sustainability. So we're already investigating what you have to do end of life of car. So if you're cutting fuel pumps, you're dropping engines out, you're stripping the vehicles. These are all procedures that would be ideal for the fire service to learn how the car's made up without having to dig into real cars.
Yeah,
yes, definitely.
Lovely.
Repeatable, consistent.
Yes.
All right. Just a little heads up. Has Kirk dropped out?
I think Kirk might have dropped out. Yeah,
That's
might have just
a great
happened.
shame. Hope he makes it back in. I'm just a little just of time. We're almost on the hour now, and I think you wanted to show us one or two other things. Is that right?
Well, I think Kirk's gone, so if he pops back, that'd be great. But Daniel, I was going to try a 360 video. I was going to try one of Paul's 360 videos. Here's Kirk.
Oh, here's Kirk again as well. Yeah, I think let's. Oh, and it's gone again. Oh no, there he is. Yeah, so let's give it another 2 or 3 minutes here, and then I think just because I don't want to interrupt it right in the middle. This conversation is wonderful. I think a lot of us could stay for another good half an hour. But maybe we do another follow-up event. I don't know in the future. So yeah, I wanted to suggest.
I think if people are keen on that sort of the way things are going with conversation, we can definitely have something else, bring some different models in. I really think it's beneficial to see these models and then discuss the things that could happen with these models.
I think the models aspect is really critical, that we can discuss the topic with models to look directly at. That's really hot. But Kirk, you're back. Glad you made it back. Did someone cut you out of your headset?
But to Commander Speight's point on the vehicle electrification, they have an incredible. Pay attention while you're driving video that Alex might show that shows what it is. That's great training for the emergency medical technician that's never been in the car with a hysterical patient while the roof is being cut off while someone else is in the vehicle who's unconscious. It can help prepare us for traumatic stress exposure. There's so much there. And then to Brian's point on models, and here's a question to the community who are 3D geeks. What if, because when I started in LiDAR, we carried around 2 car batteries and had to have one on a charger and then alternate them, and it was only measuring 5,000 measurements a second. Now, what if you could have a tablet that measured 1 million measurements a second, like an iPad 11, for instance, and you could 3D scan your home and upload it to the cloud to make it available to first responders in the event of a fire or other problem. Help us figure out the ethics on this, because it's it's theoretically possible. The whole world is going to be a digital twin. How do we use that to save lives?
Absolutely. Yeah, very good point.
Very good point. I think that we can stay on the theme of vehicles. I think we should go and just try the video in the 360 room, Dan. If we think that'll be okay.
Those that are recording spatially, now would be a good time to save that recording before we hop over to the 360 room.
Thanks, Chris. Okay. Lovely.
Yeah, cool. So this is all a bit experimental. I mean, we tried it earlier,
as
and
it
we're gonna.
be.
We tried the models. They look like they worked okay, but then we would like to try some 360 video. So things might play back for different. Things might play back for different speeds, but I think we're going to try Paul's video, and then Kurt will try and do the forest one as well.
Okay, Alex, I'll take us over to the 360 room. I'll set up some parameters before we start, just to make sure we run as smooth as possible. Here we go.
Okay.
Cozy.
Might be quite busy.
Yeah, I
This is
went
good.
ahead and
This
turned
is
off
good.
the avatars, so the avatars will be invisible when we play it back to save a little processing power.
Okay, let's see then. Let's give it a go. We'll see if Paul, can you hear me as well?
I can hear you, yes.
So I'm going to play your car video, but I'll probably turn the sound down a little bit so it's not too loud. Well, let's see. I might skip the first bit, Paul, so we start stationary.
Yeah.
Here we go. Mine just started. Good.
Or maybe not stationary. I'll skip forward. So this bit. Okay. Right, Paul, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Cool. So you could probably give us a little rundown about this, what we're seeing here. It's quite shocking, obviously.
Yeah, but what we've got is four teenagers in a car driving, speeding. One having got a seatbelt on, as you can see through the windscreen, and the driver was looking at a mobile phone, and a tractor pulled out. So what we're showing is now the consequences of poor driving and poor decision making. Everything you see now, the paramedics, the fire service, and the police, they are not actors. They are real emergency services personnel. They haven't been scripted. They're now doing what they would do naturally. The only person who has got a script is the driver. Everyone else is not scripted. So the paramedic who's talking to the driver is doing what they do day in, day out.
And Paul, tell us when this was filmed, because you did it quite a while
this
ago.
is 3.5 years ago, possibly. Yeah, 3.5, 4 years.
Jeez, it's really good. And this was two GoPros.
Two GoPros taped with elastic bands back to back with the fisheye lens. We didn't even know if it worked. We were really kind of concerned if it worked. But what's good about this is this shows how quick the paramedics get the casualty, turn the casualty, and get the casualty out.
Tell us a little bit more, Paul, about the reach of this video. Where's it gone since you've launched it?
It's surpassed all our expectations. It's gone global. It's in most countries now. It's completely free of charge. If people want it, I just send it by WeTransfer.
Amazing. Tell us about the next bit when you had to cut the roof off, and then you got a friend to fly the helicopter in.
Yeah, we got. You can't see it at the moment, but we got the police helicopter. You can hear it. There he is. If you look through the sunroof.
Okay, yeah.
He'll come and land to the left. But when
Good to have friends in high places.
There he is. If you look out the left window, you see.
Did you ask him to land in shot?
The strangest thing on that day was the helicopter was flying over and it hadn't confirmed, and the co-pilot rang me on the mobile phone.
Really?
I answered my mobile phone and they went, "Where do you want us to land?" And I'm like, "What?" A bit surreal.
Yeah.
That's the film now. If you see the film now, it's going blurry. What we did, rather than just edit, we made you go into unconscious, then bring you around again so we can then do some edit. And this is really weird. Yeah, and this is the weirdest bit here. People say when we take the roof off, they say they can feel a gust of cold air when they're watching it, and so that's the brain filling the gaps in. You know, the whole about virtual reality and 360 film.
Wow.
It's totally immersive. You know, you experience it, so you remember it. So, you know, all the people who've been through this film, they'll remember this, and hopefully it will make them a better driver. And all it's about is saving lives. Yeah, I mean, I've just felt some cold air.
Wow, that's bizarre. That is bizarre. Yeah, I want to get your jacket on.
Yeah, it's bizarre. And if you see the doctor or the paramedic to my left, look, they're putting an injection in. People see that.
Yeah.
And they
in your leg.
They lift,
yeah, it's a reflex.
The leg up. They move the leg out the way.
Yeah. Oh wow.
That is crazy.
But like I say, if anyone wants this film, just let me know and I'll
Yes,
send it to you.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's great, Paul.
Definitely.
Really good.
Every college should have this, like for driver safety training. You know.
Yeah, I think it's New Zealand. They like Kirk said, they've been using it to train paramedics who've never seen a car, road traffic collision or car crash before.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get them used to it. One, to see the injuries, but
Prepare
two, just
them,
to see the scene. You know, because if you haven't seen one before, they could be quite horrific.
Yeah.
The driver, if you look at the driver, he's got a compound fracture of his femur. And people say, I don't like that. So we say, well, look at the people in the back because they're less injured.
Yeah. But that actor in the front, the passenger there, he is an excellent actor. Like, he's got me really scared.
Yeah, well, we actually made a follow-on to this because we used behavioural change techniques.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Really, really great.
So just jump into the Kirk one, and then we'll
I've
pop back to
seen
the
this
room.
one.
Let's
I've seen
see.
this one. This is amazing.
Kirk, can you give us a rundown of this while we're watching this one? How you filmed this and what it's for?
So this is work done by the National Institute of Standards and Technology Fire Lab. There's also a NIST lab in Boulder that's the Public Safety Communication Research Group, and they're doing quite a bit of work with VR. This lab in Maryland, led by Dr. Matt Howler and Sandy Ressler, the graphics guy at NIST. Matt's a structural or mechanical engineer, and he wanted to see how houses react in fire, and so they burn fire. But he wanted to study it. Well, and then they started doing 360 video, and then they said, well, this could be useful for other things. And so this is an open source file that shows how this stand of trees that was a controlled burn, a planned controlled burn, was done. And he's just published in the last few days his work on the water-cooled camera. Both Alex and myself have burned up a camera or two, and I'm sure Commander Speight has as well. This camera is actually water-cooled inside a glass. That's a glass lens that pumps fresh water in and around the 360 camera, kept it a little cooler. And I think a really great piece to encourage people to keep a defensible space around their house and understand, the dynamics in the forest fire. Mind you, I would say this is not a swift-moving fire.
It is not. I was going to say how fast it was. Yeah.
Grass fires faster than you can run. 25 miles an hour with wind and low humidity. It's it's a whole nother story.
Wow.
That's great. I'm really pleased it worked.
Lovely 360 videos. Is there any more, or are we going to jump back to a different scenario?
Let's jump back, I think. Let's go finish off in the main room.
Yeah, all right. Chris, you want to take us back there? Yeah, we'll be heading there.
We're off.
Wonderful. We're
back.
I love the way everybody populates together.
Dropping in.
That's so great.
And talking about the effectiveness of, is it, how much more effective for the recruits is it than the normal thing? I was saying to Alex, my first time in this sort of experience just yesterday, where I said, well, I felt the bubble, the situation, hey, you're in my bubble. It's 3,800 miles or 6,800 miles away. Hey.
Space is space, right? Rob Terrio's got a question here. Please, Rob.
Sure. Yeah, I just want to know.
Hi, Rob.
Is it Paul Speight?
Paul Speight.
It's Paul.
Yes.
Speight. Yeah.
Could how can
LinkedIn
we get the
best.
email address, Paul, or would we find you on LinkedIn or something?
Yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah.
Paul Speight on LinkedIn, Leicester Fire Department, right?
Yeah, Leicestershire.
Leicestershire Fire Service. Okay, great.
Hi, Greg.
Okay.
Perfect.
Alex,
Okay,
is
that
there
was
anything
good.
else you wanted to? Thank you so much for that, Alex and Kirk, and for Paul. Glad we finally got your sound on. Is there anything else you wanted to show, Alex?
I wanted to thank Kirk and thank Paul and everyone else for coming. It's amazing
And
how many
Chris
people...
from Engage. Chris, thank you so much for helping us with all that. And that
Chris,
fire
Chris, thank you.
You know what?
Chris,
can we do
the things at the start were amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we play that one more time? Because I think there were a bunch of people who joined since then who didn't see that first effect.
And also, maybe before that, or not sure, Dan, I'd like to tease a photogrammetry model of a future event. The monument, the monastery one, the not the one with the with the poppies, the photogrammetry model that you can put your head inside.
Yeah, the mask hall or the Kenilworth Abbey.
Yeah, the Abbey one. That's the one.
Abbey,
I wanted to see it here. And basically, can we put it like chest height? Yes, up a bit. Yeah. Cool.
We could even make it walkable in. You know, we could walk
Let's
around.
do two. One small, one big.
Okay.
I want to tease the fact that we're going to do a lot more photogrammetry things within Engage, and I think this will be great.
One here, we'll put it in the middle. There we go.
That's amazing. So yeah, Dan, in the future, I'm hoping, we spoke about it the other day, that we can do. I'm going to be talks with Brian where we talk about the future of the tech and stuff like that. But I'd like to do one specifically on photogrammetry with you, and this is like a teaser for that event, if that's cool with you. You muted.
Who's muted?
Maybe Dan's muted. Oh, Ty. Ty, can you hear me? I just unmuted you.
I can hear you.
Yeah, cool, wicked. So yeah, that was it. Me and Daniel are going to do another event where we talk about this within Engage. But Chris, I'd love to show your piece again. If people have joined since, maybe we can move these out of the way, I guess, because they're going to be in the way.
I'll dump these IFX here. There we go. And let's go ahead and get that content going. The best place to stand is maybe right about here.
Yes,
oh yeah, over here.
Yep. I just found you on Twitter, but
give this a sec for everyone to load. You'll know you're loaded when you see the Engage logo up here. I'll give this a few more seconds. Sometimes it takes a little bit for people to load it on their system, depending on your internet speed. And let's go ahead and get this started. Here we go.
Watch out, Mike.
Mike, you get squashed.
Chris, you need to make some more of those. They're awesome.
I'd love to.
Awesome.
So that's really good. I am super excited. Is there any? Can we unmute people for questions now, or have we gone past the time too much?
Oh, Dan's got mute on us.
Oh, Dan's having probs.
Oh, do you hear me?
That's yes.
I found your Twitter site, but you're probably not going to be able to see me because you probably have many followers. But I'm on the board there.
Oh.
I'm at paramedic_tutor.
Networking. I like the networking. So I think Daniel might have gone. Lost his audio.
Paramedic underscore
tutor. Oh, here.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
that was just amazing overall, Alex.
Good, Chris.
Absolutely mind-blowing.
It's me email.
Yeah, thanks for hosting everything. It's worked really well. I'm super surprised at how well it. And is this a busy crowd or is this normal?
This is a fantastic turnout. And it's a great
Tutor. Paramedic tutor.
This is what we talk about moving beyond the PowerPoint, right? This is all just amazing. Thank you guys for putting on a fantastic talk and experience. Really, it's all about experience.
I'm just saying, if
Yeah,
you follow
thanks,
me,
Chris.
I'll send you a direct message.
Here's Dan. Dan's back.
Ready for the next one.
Yeah, definitely, Ty. Chris, what happens now usually at your events? Do you have a place where people can chat, or do you?
I can totally leave this room open, or we could move it to another location to hang out. In fact, I'll just take us to the penthouse, and if we want to just hang out there, you guys can
I'd like to go to a different location. That'd be great if you just take us somewhere else.
Let's go to a place where we can spread out a little bit. We'll go to Avebury. Here we go.
Okay.
And so flawless, smooth, perfect.
There we
Oh,
go.
cool.
Look at everybody. Everybody's dropping in. We'll
Chris, I like the lighting.
unmuted here.
The lighting in here looks good. Nice and bright.
All right, everybody should be able to unmute yourselves now. I've got global unmute happening, so I do have the attenuated audio on, so you can spread out for private conversations and just feel free to socialize and ask questions of the team and whatever you guys want to do.
Thanks,
Actually,
Chris.
Alex,
Amazing.
I wanted to ask some technical questions there.
Hi, David.
Really nice
Chris.
models, fantastic.
Yes. Okay.
I'm just wondering what
Should we spread out? Should we just go over here where the audio might be better?
I think it's the.
Hey, Kirk.
Yes.
Behind you there.
Who's talking to me? I'm good, Rob.
I was trying to talk with Paul earlier.